Smoke and the sounds of moans, painful cries and screaming echo throughout the bunker. Screams Anna as she gasps and struggles to breathe, with multiple dead and dying people laying on top of her. Lights flicker on and off in the smoke-filled bunker, revealing the dead and disfigured in quick flashes. A soldier then yells, "If you can stand up, move to the lower decks." "Everybody, listen up, move down. We have to keep moving." Armed soldiers begin to corral the crowds further down into the bunker. Sophia yells, "Mark, help me!" As Sophia and Mark begin to pull the bodies off of Anna, Anna begins to cough and groan as she is helped up. Sophia, then attempting to pull Nigel up, says, "Oh no," in a worried and almost crying tone of voice. "He's dead," says Sophia. Mark then puts his hand on Sophia's shoulder and says, "Come on, let's go." Sophia stands above Nigel, shaking her head back and forth, seemingly about to break down when Anna, approaching Sophia, puts her hand on Sophia's back. As she, Mark, and Sophia begin to follow the crowds of thousands of other people further down into the bunker. Anna looks back as they are walking down, and she looks at Nigel, who's laying there, eyes wide open and lifeless. Mark, Anna, and a group of heavily armed soldiers sit at a table. Anna sits quietly as Mark and the soldiers drink beer while eating what can best be described as brown mush. Anna, still not accustomed to the bland, boring meal the humans eat every day, declines by quietly saying, "No thank you," when one of the soldiers attempts to give her a bowl. "More for me then," says Mark, as he takes the bowl from the soldier and begins to eat spoonfuls of the brown, lumpy paste. A woman soldier sitting across from Mark then says, "Mark, you're such a dick." "I am what you want," says Mark. As the table breaks out in laughter, Anna slightly grins as Mark and the female soldier glare at each other menacingly. "You wish, you filthy pig," says the female soldier. Sophia then approaches the table and sits down next to Anna. Mark and the rest of the soldiers then look at Sophia. Sophia, then moving her hair behind her ears, looks at everyone at the table before she says, "They're still counting, but so far it looks like 30,000 didn't make it." Mark then, slamming his fist down on the table, looks at Sophia and says, 30,000, how is that even possible?" Sophia responds, "So far the head count is at a little over 100,000 people alive in the bunker. Our entrance wasn't the only entrance that was attacked during the evacuation. The attacks led to stampedes, fires, and the west side entrance collapsed. They believe 20,000 were trapped or crushed in that portion alone." "My God," says Anna. Sophia then responds, "A few gens were even captured." Mark then angrily stands up and asks, "Where are they being held?" "No, Mark, sit down," says Sophia. "You know they can't survive the radiation in the barrier for very long. They're already dead." "What about Aluka?" says Anna. Sophia replies, "Well, her body isn't in the bunker. My guess is she left the barrier after the bunker door closed. No point of her staying within the barrier to be poisoned to death by radiation." Mark then sits down and says they've never come through the barrier to attack us before. A quick flyover at most. But these jinns actually landed. What the hell is going on? Sophia then looks at Anna and says, "You see how evil the jinns are? This is why we had to do it." Anna stares down at the table and says, "I wish I were never brought back. There has to be another way." The woman soldier who was verbally sparring with Mark earlier grabs Anna's hand from across the table and says, "Sweetheart, it's okay, my name is Nicole. We're all friends here. You can trust us." Nicole then looks at Sophia and says, "Why the hell did the council decide to move all of the human population down into the bunker? What the hell is going on?" Sophia then responds, "We are all senior officers here. We are all sworn to serve the council. Nothing I say can ever leave this table. Besides, you'll all be briefed in more detail later. But the truth is, the council found a way to wipe out the jinns." Nicole, Mark, and two other soldiers at the table move closer, listening closely as Sophia explains. The council met with Anna about a month ago to ask her about her time with Aluka, and the strangest things began to occur in their labs, but only when Anna was present. Well, more specifically, the labs containing the old space control instruments from before the clouds froze Earth. They noticed whenever Anna was in the room, this old equipment that they could never get the power on was suddenly powering on for the first time in hundreds of years. Well, they soon figured out that Anna's pure human DNA, with no genetic engineering like the rest of us, was the key to powering on the old space equipment. You see, at the time this equipment was made, there were fears that remote-controlled robots could be used to sneak into vital infrastructure for sabotage. So for a short time, many old computer systems could only be operated by someone with human DNA. You see, we've all been receiving some form of genetic engineering for generations, to protect us from everything from bioweapons, freezing temperatures, and the radiation we use to heat this town inside the barrier. So our DNA patterns today will not be recognized as human to these old computer systems." Mark then asks, "So what does Anna accidentally restarting some old computers have to do with the council ordering what's left of humanity into the bunkers?" Sophia then smiles and says, "Hundreds of years ago, before the clouds, there was an asteroid 50 miles across on a collision course with the moon. The scientists at the time didn't think impact would affect Earth too much, aside from a few days of high tides. But to be careful and to test out space equipment, they secretly launched a nuclear propulsion engine that would attach to the asteroid and direct the asteroid to an orbit around Mars. For hundreds of years now, this asteroid has been orbiting Mars. Well, until a few days ago, that is. The Council now controls the trajectory of the asteroid, and they've set it on a collision course with Earth. In a few days, everything on the surface of Earth will be destroyed. The clouds, the jinns, everything. Except us humans down here in the bunker. We'll be the only living thing left on the planet. As the frozen oceans boil and everything everywhere on Earth burns for the next few weeks. Holy shit, says Mark. No wonder the jinns attacked us the way they did. Yeah, says Sophia. The jinns seeing all of humanity descend into the bunker. They knew we were planning something big. Nicole then says finally those filthy jinn will get what they deserve. I hope we'll be able to hear their screams from down here. For humanity, says Mark as he lifts his glass of beer. No, says Sophia as she picks up a cup and raises it and says, to hell on earth. Anna then gets up and walks away from the table right before they all shout, to hell on earth.